Good morning. Let me ask you a question, a simple one. What would make 2025 the greatest year of your life? And no, I don't mean the kind of year where you check off a few goals, post some vacation photos, or get that raise. I mean the year, the one you'll look back on and say, that's when it all changed. That's when I became who I was meant to be. If you can't answer that yet, don't worry. That's exactly what we're here to figure out. Start with why. Everything starts with why. Not the what, not the job, the salary, the car, the relationship. Those things are outcomes, but they're not drivers. The question isn't, what do I want to achieve in 2025? The real question is, why does it matter to me? Because if you don't know why, you're chasing something. You'll either never catch it, or worse, you will and feel nothing when you do. If your why is to prove something to others, you're climbing someone else's ladder. If your why is to escape your past, your future will always look like your rearview mirror. But if your why is born from purpose, if it's rooted in a deep desire to grow, to serve, to live fully, then you've already taken the first step toward a truly great year. So ask yourself, what is my why for 2025? Write it down. Make it uncomfortable. Let it scare you a little, because comfort never leads to greatness. Trade motivation for discipline. Let's talk about the myth of motivation. We've been sold this idea that to change your life, you need to feel excited every day, that you need to wake up with a fire in your belly and a vision board on your wall. But let me tell you something. Motivation is fleeting. It's a mood. Discipline, on the other hand, that's a decision. Motivation is what gets you started. Discipline is what keeps you going long after the excitement wears off. If 2025 is going to be the year everything changes, then it will be because you did the work even when no one was watching, especially when no one was watching. If your goal is to get healthy, then it's not about the gym selfie. It's about showing up when it's raining, when it's hard, when you'd rather do anything else. If your goal is to build a business, then it's not about the launch party. It's about the 2 a.m. problem-solving session with no applause and no spotlight. Discipline is boring. And that's exactly why it works. Most people live their lives like they're running a race with a finish line. I'll be happy when I hit 6 figures. I'll be fulfilled when I buy that house. I'll finally feel like I've made it when I retire. That's not how life works. That's not how greatness works. 2025 will not be the greatest year of your life because you finally win. It will be the greatest year because you finally start playing the right game, the long game, the infinite game, the one where the goal isn't to beat others, but to become better than you were yesterday, where your competition isn't your neighbor or your coworker or that person on Instagram, but your past self. That's the game where you grow. That's the game where you find purpose. And that's the game you were built to play. There's a lie we've all heard. You just need to find balance. But life is not about balance. Life is about alignment. Balance says everything should get equal time. Alignment says the right things should get your best time. If your values say family matters, but your calendar says work comes first, something's out of alignment. If you say health matters, but your habits say convenience matters more, again, out of alignment. To make 2025 the greatest year of your life, you don't need more time, you need better alignment. Align your time with your values, your actions with your purpose, your goals with your why. That's when the breakthroughs happen. We live in a world obsessed with outcomes, 6-pack abs, 7-figure businesses, 30-day transformations. But real greatness, lasting greatness, isn't built in 30 days. It's built in the quiet hours, in the mundane, everyday decisions. So if you want 2025 to change your life, stop asking, how do I get there fast? Start asking, how do I fall in love with the process? Because when you fall in love with the process, the results take care of themselves. You stop chasing success and you start building it, brick by brick, day by day. And here's the secret. The person who shows up every day with no fanfare, just love for the craft, that's the person who wins in the end. Here's what no one tells you. You don't need a new year to create a new life. But if the calendar turning gives you the excuse to start, take it. If January 1 feels like a permission slip to begin again, use it. If 2025 feels like a blank canvas, paint the masterpiece. Just don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for someone else to believe in you. You are the author. You are the builder. You are the one you've been waiting for. So make the call. Take the step. Build the thing. Say the truth. And don't do it for applause. Don't do it for likes. Do it because your future is worth fighting for. Make 2025 the year you didn't just dream, but the year you did. The year you didn't just plan, but the year you became. Make 2025 the greatest year of your life, because no one else is going to do it for you. Every one of us wants to achieve something meaningful. We make plans, we set goals, we chase outcomes. We list the what of our lives, what we want to do, what we want to have, what we want to become. But there's a reason so many resolutions fail, so many goals fall short, and so many achievements feel hollow, even when we finally reach them. It's because we started with the wrong question. We started with what instead of why. Starting with why means grounding everything you do in a deeper purpose. It means asking not what do I want to do this year, but why do I want to do it in the first place? The why gives the what meaning. It's the reason you get out of bed, the fire behind your decisions, the compass that keeps you moving when everything around you tries to push you off course. Imagine two people training for a marathon. One says, I want to run a marathon. That's the what. The other says, I want to prove to myself that I can overcome something I once thought was impossible. That's the why. On the days when it's raining, when motivation is gone, when the schedule is tight and the body is tired, who's more likely to keep going? It's the what is an outcome. The why is fuel. Most of us don't lack goals. We lack reasons. We want to make more money, but why? We want to get in shape, but why? We want to be more productive, but why? If the answer is vague or borrowed from someone else's expectations, it won't stick. It won't hold up under pressure. Goals built on shallow reasons collapse when life gets hard. But when you dig deep and connect your goals to something meaningful, something that matters to you, you unlock a level of focus and resilience that motivation alone could never give you. People confuse passion with purpose. Passion is a feeling, it comes and goes. Purpose is rooted. Passion fades when the work gets tough. Purpose sharpens. When you start with why, you create a foundation that doesn't shake when the mood shifts. You don't just follow trends or copy what works for others. You lead yourself from a place of clarity. And clarity is power. This isn't just a feel-good idea. It's strategic. When you lead with why, you filter decisions more effectively. You don't waste time chasing goals that don't serve you. You say no more easily. You know what's worth sacrificing for and what's not. You stop comparing yourself to others because your path has its own direction. You measure progress by alignment, not applause. Think of the most admired leaders, creators, changemakers. They didn't start with what they did. They started with why they did it. That's why their message resonates. That's why people follow them. It's not the product. It's the belief behind the product. It's not the success. It's the conviction behind the success. The truth is, when you don't start with why, you might still succeed, but you might hate the life you build. You might find yourself in a career that pays well but leaves you empty. You might check all the boxes and still feel like something's missing. That something is almost always a lack of connection to purpose. You don't need to have it all figured out. Your why can grow and evolve, but you need to start there, because everything else, the habits, the goals, the plans, will fall into place more naturally when you do. Starting with why doesn't make things easier, but it makes them more meaningful. And that meaning is what sustains you when the novelty wears off and all that's left is the work. We live in a culture that worships motivation. We scroll through endless videos, watch inspirational speeches, and look for that perfect quote to light a fire inside us. And for a moment, it works. We feel a surge of energy. We tell ourselves this time will be different. This time we'll follow through. But then the alarm rings at 5 o'clock IMM, or the day gets busy, or the excitement wears off, and we fall right back into old patterns. The truth is, motivation is a spark, not a strategy. It's a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. What separates people who change their lives from those who just talk about it is not motivation, it's discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's making the choice that aligns with your long-term goals, not your short-term moods. Motivation asks, do I feel like it today? Discipline doesn't ask questions. It just acts, and the people who create consistent success are not the ones who feel fired up every morning. They're the ones who show up whether they're inspired or not, because they've decided that the result matters more than their mood. There's a reason why elite athletes train on the days they're sore. There's a reason why successful entrepreneurs work through fear and uncertainty. There's a reason why great artists create even when they don't feel. It's because they understand that consistency creates excellence. And consistency is born from discipline, not from the highs of temporary motivation. Think of discipline as a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. It starts with small decisions: the food you choose, the workout you don't skip, the hour you devote to your craft when it's easier to scroll through your phone. Each decision reinforces your identity. You're not just doing the task, you're becoming the kind of person who follows through. And when you build that kind of self-respect, it becomes easier to keep going because you trust yourself. You know that you'll keep your word even when no one else is watching. We've been conditioned to chase comfort. Our devices offer instant distraction, our culture rewards convenience, and we avoid discomfort like it's a threat. But growth never comes from ease. Discipline requires you to lean into discomfort, to choose the hard thing on purpose, not because it feels good in the moment, but because it builds something lasting. Discipline is choosing to write when your mind is scattered, to run when your body is tired, to speak truth when your voice shakes. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it's powerful beyond measure. One of the biggest lies we're told is that discipline is restrictive, that it's about denying yourself pleasure, joy, spontaneity. In reality, discipline is freedom. It's freedom from regret, freedom from inconsistency, freedom from the anxiety of living life on autopilot. It gives you control, not over every outcome, but over your effort, your attitude, your response. It puts you back in the driver's seat of your own life. The people we admire aren't extraordinary because they were born different. They're extraordinary because they decided to do the work day after day when it would have been easier not to. They stopped waiting for the perfect moment. They stopped chasing inspiration. They built habits. They honored routines. They treated their goals like commitments, not suggestions. And over time, that discipline became part of who they were. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to begin. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent. And the more you practice discipline, the less you'll need to rely on fleeting emotions to move forward. You'll learn to show up regardless of how you feel. You'll learn to push through resistance. You'll learn to trust the process, even when results take time. Most people live their lives like they're trying to win a game that ends. They chase milestones, collect trophies, and measure success by whether they're ahead or behind someone else. But life isn't a sprint with a finish line. It's not a scoreboard where the highest number wins. Life is an infinite game. And those who truly thrive are the ones who understand that the goal isn't to win, but to keep playing, to keep growing, to keep evolving. In a finite game, there are known players, fixed rules, and a clear endpoint. Think of a football match or a school exam. You know the start and the finish. You know what it takes to win. But life doesn't work like that. There are no final winners. No one gets to declare they've definitively won at life. Success isn't permanent. Failure isn't fatal. The game continues and the players change. When you play life as if it were a finite game, you start chasing validation instead of purpose. You compare your path to others. You define your worth by how much money you make, how many followers you have, or how fast you check off goals. You measure progress by someone else's metrics. And even when you hit your targets, there's an emptiness that follows because deep down you know you were never really playing your own game. Playing the infinite game shifts everything. Instead of asking, how do I win? You start asking, how do I stay in the game longer? How do I keep getting better? How do I keep contributing? It becomes less about proving yourself and more about improving yourself. Less about impressing others and more about living with integrity. You stop chasing endpoints and start investing in systems, habits, and values that can sustain you for the long haul. In the infinite game, consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to be the best today. You just need to show up again and again. You focus on being better than you were yesterday, not better than the person next to you. You build resilience, not just results. You don't burn out trying to sprint toward every goal. You learn to pace yourself, to recover, to adapt. Because the game is still going. It always is. The infinite player understands that setbacks aren't failures, they're feedback. That mistakes aren't signs to quit, they're part of the process. Growth isn't linear, and progress isn't always obvious. Some seasons are about building, some are about resting, some are about surviving, but in all of them, the question remains the same. Am I still moving forward in a meaningful direction? Playing the infinite game means leading with values. It means knowing what you stand for and making choices that reflect it. It means putting relationships above transactions, contribution above competition, legacy above quick wins. And so, in the midst of our quick wins, it means not sacrificing who you are just to achieve something faster. Because when you play to last, not just to win, you build something that can outlive the moment, outlast the hype, and outgrow your initial ambition. The people who play the infinite game don't fear change, they embrace it. They aren't shaken by someone else's success, they're inspired by it. They don't cling to one identity, one role, or one definition of success. They evolve, they adapt, they stay curious. Their strength comes from knowing that the game will change, and so will they. And that's not a threat, it's the point. When you play the infinite game, you're not chasing a rival. You're learning how to stay in motion. You're choosing purpose over popularity, service over ego, commitment over convenience. And the reward isn't just what you achieve, it's who you become while you keep playing. We often hear the phrase work-life balance, as if life can be perfectly divided into neat, symmetrical parts. But balance suggests equal weight, equal time, and equal attention to every area of your life at every moment. That's not realistic. And more importantly, it's not the goal. The goal is alignment. Alignment means your actions match your values. It means the way you spend your time reflects what you claim is important. It's not about giving everything equal space. It's about giving the right things the right space. When you're aligned, there's a sense of internal peace, not because everything is easy, but because it feels right. You know you're doing what matters, even if it's hard, even if it takes sacrifice. The tension comes when you say one thing but live another. You say family matters most, but your calendar is filled with back-to-back meetings and missed dinner. You say health is a priority, but you haven't moved your body in weeks. You say integrity matters, but you make decisions just to keep people happy. That gap between what you value and what you practice, that's misalignment, and it drains you in ways you don't always see. Alignment requires honesty. It forces you to confront your real priorities, not just the ones that sound good. It asks you to audit your time, your energy, and your habit. It challenges you to say no more often, to choose discomfort now for peace later. It's not flashy. It won't always be applauded, but alignment is what allows you to live without regret, because you know you showed up for the things that mattered most. It's easy to get caught in the momentum of doing, of saying yes to everything, of being busy and mistaking that for being productive. But activity is not alignment. You can be incredibly busy and deeply out of sync with your values. You can check every box and still feel empty. You can succeed in the eyes of the world and fail in your own. Alignment demands that you stop and ask, what am I building and why? Who am I becoming? And does that match who I want to be? Sometimes alignment means choosing the harder path. It might mean walking away from something that looks successful but no longer feels right. It might mean disappointing others in order to stay true to yourself. It might mean slowing down when everything around you is speeding up. But those are the moments that define you, not by what you achieve, but by what you protect. Your time, your energy, your values, those are your real assets. And how you use them determines the quality of your life. Alignment is not static. It's something you return to again and again. Life shifts. Seasons change. Priorities evolve. What mattered most 5 years ago may not be what matters most now. Now, that's okay. The key is staying awake to those changes and adjusting your life accordingly. What feels off usually isn't random. It's your inner compass trying to get your attention. When you feel scattered, pulled in too many directions, drained without a clear reason, ask yourself, where am I out of alignment? Living in alignment won't always feel comfortable, but it will feel clear. It creates a sense of purpose in your decision. It reduces the internal conflict that comes from saying yes to things you secretly resent. It brings focus to your goals, strength to your boundaries, and peace to your progress. It allows you to build a life that looks good on the outside and feels right on the inside.